Napoleon and Josephine, a love story of power and tragedy. Ladies and gentlemen, today I invite you to reflect upon a story of ambition, love, resilience, and transformation, one that embodies the very essence of overcoming adversity to achieve greatness. Let us begin with the power of ambition. Napoleon Bonaparte, a man born of humble origins, dared to dream of an empire that would change the world. It is the force of ambition, coupled with unshakable belief in oneself, that drives individuals to scale heights others deem impossible. Just as Napoleon rose from an island in the Mediterranean to command the largest empire in Europe, so too can you. The question is, do you believe in your potential as Napoleon did? But ambition alone is never enough. Love and loyalty are the forces that ground us, that fuel our perseverance in times of challenge. Napoleon's love for Josephine was not just a matter of the heart, but of a shared vision. They were partners in the truest sense, both propelling one another forward. Even amidst the demands of power and politics, Josephine remained Napoleon's steadfast ally. When you are on your own journey towards success, remember, your relationships built on love and loyalty can serve as your greatest strength. Yet, we must acknowledge that in the pursuit of power, there is a price to pay. Napoleon's relentless drive for an heir led to the end of his marriage, a decision that tore at the fabric of his personal life. It is an example of the delicate balance between personal fulfillment and larger ambitions. Every decision carries consequences, and though the path may be paved with sacrifice, it is the determination to keep moving forward that defines true leaders. Consider also the power of resilience. Napoleon, exiled to an island, Josephine, living without the love she once shared, faced tremendous personal and public hardship. But their ability to bounce back from adversity, to keep striving despite setbacks, is what makes their story timeless. No matter how many times you face defeat, the key is to rise again. The relationship between Napoleon and Josephine reminds us of the need to embrace change. Life is a journey of constant evolution. Napoleon had to let go of the woman he loved. Josephine had to accept the end, a dream. In times of transition, in moments of change, our growth is often defined not by the challenge, but by how we adapt. Never be afraid to evolve when the circumstances demand it. Of course, no great journey is without the need for strategic decisions. Napoleon's decision to marry Marie-Louise, painful, was a crucial step in securing his legacy. Sometimes we must make choices that are difficult but necessary. Success often requires us to make the hard call, to weigh the emotional against the practical. Learn to embrace strategic decisions, for they can lead to breakthroughs when the stakes are high. Finally, remember that legacy is not defined by the pain or the challenges we face, but by the impact we leave behind. Though their love story ended in tragedy, the legacies of Napoleon and Josephine endure. Josephine remains a symbol of grace, while Napoleon's empire reshaped history. Your actions today shape the legacy you will leave tomorrow. Even in tragedy, your story can inspire generations. So, as you embark on your own journey, remember these lessons. Believe in your ambition, cherish the love and loyalty around you, make decisions with courage, embrace change, and persevere through adversity. In the end, it is the strength of your character, not the trials you face, that defines your ultimate success. Ambition is a powerful force, one that drives individuals to transcend the limitations of their circumstances and create something extraordinary. It is the fuel that propels us forward, even when the path seems uncertain or the obstacles insurmountable. Napoleon Bonaparte's life is a shining example of how ambition can transform an individual from humble beginnings into one of the most influential figures in world history. His story is not just one of military conquest and political success, but also a testament to the incredible strength of ambition and the relentless pursuit of one's vision. Born on the small island of Corsica, Napoleon was not destined for greatness. His family was of modest means, and Corsica itself was a relatively insignificant part of the European landscape at the time. Yet from a young age, Napoleon harbored a vision that far exceeded the world he was born into. He knew that his ambitions would not be fulfilled by merely accepting the status quo. Instead, he sought to carve a path that would make his name synonymous with power, glory, and change. In many ways, Napoleon's rise was fueled by his fierce belief in his own potential, even when the world had not yet recognized him as someone capable of achieving greatness. Ambition is not just about the desire for success. It is about setting a vision and being unwavering in the pursuit of it, regardless of the challenges that may arise. Napoleon's ambition was not driven solely by a quest for personal glory. It was rooted in a profound desire to shape the world around him. His vision of a French empire that spanned Europe was not born overnight. It was the result of years of hard work, meticulous planning, and the ability to seize opportunities when they presented themselves. Every battle he fought, every decision he made was a reflection of his unwavering ambition to bring his vision to life. His ability to inspire those around him was another manifestation of his ambition. He was not simply commanding an army, but leading a movement. He instilled in his soldiers the belief that they were part of something greater than themselves, something that would change the course of history. At the heart of ambition lies a sense of purpose, a belief that what you are striving toward is worth the effort and sacrifice. Napoleon's ambition was grounded in a deep sense of purpose, to elevate France to a position of unrivaled power in Europe. His relentless pursuit of this goal is a reminder that ambition is not just about wanting more, but about seeking to make a meaningful impact on the world. It is the ability to look beyond the immediate challenges and setbacks, to see the larger picture, and to remain focused on that vision even when things do not go as planned. Ambition is also about resilience. Napoleon faced numerous setbacks in his career, defeats in battle, political opposition, and personal challenges, but he never allowed these setbacks to define him. Instead, he viewed each failure as an opportunity to learn and grow. His ability to bounce back from adversity is a hallmark of true ambition. He understood that success is not a straight line, but a series of ups and downs, and that true greatness is achieved, not by avoiding failure, but by overcoming it. Napoleon's life shows that ambition is not a passive trait. It is an active driving force. It demands action, persistence, and the willingness to take risks. Ambition requires us to believe in ourselves, even when others doubt us, to pursue our goals with intensity, and to stay focused on the bigger picture. It is a force that shapes the course of history, Napoleon's life and legacy. To be ambitious is to take ownership of your future, to reject complacency, and to relentlessly pursue your vision, no matter the obstacles in your way. In this way, ambition becomes the engine of personal transformation, and through it, we can achieve far more than we ever thought possible. Love and loyalty are often considered the emotional cornerstones of human relationships, shaping how we navigate the world and the connections we form with others. In the story of Napoleon and Josephine, these powerful emotions played a crucial role in their personal and professional lives, serving as both motivators and obstacles along the way. While their love story was complicated by political ambition and personal flaws, the loyalty they shared, despite the tumult and challenges, was a force that helped to fuel their extraordinary journey together. At the heart of any great partnership, whether personal or professional, lies love. It is love that inspires individuals to push beyond their limits, to take risks for the sake of someone they care about, and to stay committed through thick and thin. Napoleon's relationship with Josephine was rooted in this kind of profound affection. When they first met, Napoleon was a young and ambitious military officer, eager to make a name for himself. Josephine, a widow with 2 children, was already a woman of influence in her own right. Despite their differences in age and background, Napoleon was captivated by her charm, intelligence, and beauty. Their mutual affection sparked a passionate relationship, and for a time, Josephine became Napoleon's greatest source of emotional support. This love, however, was not without its challenges. Napoleon's insatiable ambition often clashed with the realities of his relationship with Josephine. While he was focused on his rise to power and the expansion of his empire, Josephine's inability to bear him a son, the heir he desperately needed, became a source of tension between. Even though their love remained strong, their marriage ultimately could not withstand the weight of their differing personal and political goals. Napoleon's desire for a male heir, which he viewed as critical to securing his legacy, led to the painful decision to divorce Josephine. Despite their separation, the love they shared remained, and Napoleon would never entirely stop caring for her. He would often refer to her fondly, a reminder that love, even in its most difficult moments, can persist long after the relationship has ended. Loyalty, however, is what anchored their connection through the most tumultuous times. Josephine's loyalty to Napoleon was evident in how she supported him throughout his rise to power. When he was away fighting wars, she remained his most trusted confidant, managing his affairs and ensuring his interests were protected. Even when their relationship became strained, Josephine's commitment to him never wavered. This loyalty, rooted in her deep emotional connection to him, helped her endure his frequent absences and eventual decision to marry another. For her part, Napoleon's loyalty to Josephine, though complicated by political necessity, never fully disappeared. While he sought a new wife to secure his dynasty, he still held a certain reverence for Josephine, understanding the sacrifices she had made for him, and the role she played in his early success. Their story demonstrates the power of loyalty as an unwavering force that transcends both time and circumstance. In the face of personal challenges, the loyalty they shared allowed them to weather difficult moments and maintain a bond that, while no longer a romantic one, remained a powerful connection. Loyalty is not just about blind faith or adherence to a person's desires. It is about a deep-seated commitment to supporting someone even when the situation is not ideal, and being steadfast in your dedication despite the trials and changes life brings. While love and loyalty may not always protect us from heartbreak or disappointment, they provide the foundation on which we can build resilience. They remind us that the most meaningful relationships are often the ones in which we are called upon to give more than we receive, to stand by each other through thick and thin, and to remain true to our commitments, even when the path is difficult. Napoleon and Josephine's story is one of great passion, deep connection, and enduring loyalty. A reminder that the bonds we form with others can be both a source of strength and an emotional anchor, even when faced with the inevitable changes life brings. The pursuit of power is a complex and often costly journey, and no one exemplifies this better than Napoleon Bonaparte. His rise from a young Corsican officer to the Emperor of France is a testament to the transformative impact of ambition and strategic thinking. However, behind this meteoric rise and eventual dominance of Europe lies a hidden cost: the personal sacrifices, the emotional toll, and the disintegration of the very relationships that once provided him with support. Napoleon's quest for power and the price he had to pay to achieve and maintain it reveals the harsh realities that often accompany the pursuit of greatness. Napoleon's quest for power was not driven by a mere desire for wealth or fame. It was deeply rooted in a vision, one of reshaping France, creating a powerful empire, and leaving behind a legacy that would endure throughout history. From the moment he began his military career, Napoleon's focus was unwavering. He was not just a soldier. He was a man with a mission to elevate France and to carve his place in the annals of history. But as with all great ambitions, there came a cost. The higher Napoleon ascended, the more the sacrifices piled up. His rise to power demanded an unwavering commitment, and in many ways, it meant distancing himself from the things and people that once mattered most. The personal cost of power became apparent in Napoleon's relationship with Josephine. Despite their intense love and mutual respect, Their marriage was fraught with tension as Napoleon's empire expanded, and the demands of leadership became ever more pressing. One of the most significant costs he faced was the inability to secure a male heir with Josephine, something that became critical for his vision of a lasting empire. Though Josephine was a beloved partner, Napoleon's desire for a son, a successor to inherit his empire, led him to make the painful decision to divorce her in 1810. This decision, rooted in political necessity, was a reflection of the deeper sacrifice that came with power, the loss of personal happiness, and the toll on personal relationships. It was a decision that haunted Napoleon, for despite his political and military triumphs, he could not erase the pain of his broken marriage. The price of power also manifested in the erosion of Napoleon's inner circle and the isolation he increasingly felt as his power grew. As an emperor, Napoleon had to make countless decisions that affected not just his life, but the lives of millions. In his quest to control and expand his empire, he was forced to take actions that alienated those closest to him. His ambitions often required ruthless political maneuvering, which in turn led to betrayals and fractured alliances. The intense focus on consolidating power meant that personal connections, friendships, family, and love were often cast aside in favor of political calculations. Napoleon's later years were marked by a profound sense of loneliness, particularly after his downfall and exile to the island of St. Helena. The very power that had once made him the ruler of much of Europe ultimately left him isolated and estranged. Perhaps the most tragic price of power, however, was the eventual collapse of Napoleon's empire. His relentless pursuit of expansion, driven by his belief in his own destiny, led to wars that drained France's resources and led to countless lives lost. His empire, which had seemed invincible at its height, began to unravel as the forces of Europe united against him. The collapse of his empire, followed by his exile, was the ultimate reminder power is fragile. It can be lost as quickly as it is gained, and in the process, it can take everything else with it. The cost of power for Napoleon was not just the loss of Josephine and the betrayal of friends, but the destruction of the very empire he had worked so hard to build. In the end, Napoleon's life is a cautionary tale about the price of power. While his ambition and determination propelled him to unimaginable heights, the personal and political costs he incurred along the way remind us that the pursuit of greatness often comes at the expense of other aspects of life. The loss of relationships, the erosion of personal happiness, and the eventual downfall of his empire serve as poignant reminders that power, while intoxicating and transformative, is never without its price. Napoleon's story teaches us that in the pursuit of power, we must be aware of the sacrifices we make and the consequences of our actions, because, as history shows, power can often leave us with more losses than gains. Resilience in the face of adversity is one of the most important traits a person can possess, and it is a characteristic that defines the lives of those who overcome challenges to achieve greatness. The story of Napoleon Bonaparte and Josephine is rich with instances of adversity, yet it is also marked by an incredible ability to bounce back, to adapt, and to rise above difficult circumstances. Resilience was not just an attribute of Napoleon's character, it was a fundamental part of his journey, one that allowed him to recover from defeat and rebuild, no matter how heavy the personal or professional toll. Napoleon's life was defined by challenges, both internal and external, and his ability to adapt and persevere in the face of these difficulties set him apart from many others. Even before he became emperor, Napoleon faced numerous setbacks in his career. His early years were marked by financial hardship, and his first attempts at military leadership were far from easy. As a young officer, he was often overlooked by those in positions of power, yet his ambition and determination allowed him to persist in the face of rejection. He faced doubts, both from his superiors and peers, but he continued to rise above these obstacles, believing in his own potential even when others did not. His ability to overcome these early difficulties laid the foundation for his later successes. The resilience Napoleon exhibited during his military campaigns is another example of how adversity shaped his character. Napoleon faced many crushing defeats in battle, yet he always found a way to bounce back. One of the most significant instances of this resilience occurred after his disastrous campaign in Russia in 1812. The invasion, which ended in disaster for the French army, could have marked the end of Napoleon's reign. The loss of thousands of soldiers and the failure to achieve his goal seemed like an insurmountable blow. But rather than succumbing to defeat, Napoleon's response was marked by a remarkable recovery. He returned to France, regrouped, and managed to raise another army, ready to fight once more. This ability to recover, to rebuild, and to push forward after such a monumental failure demonstrated a level of resilience that few could match. Napoleon's resilience was also evident in his personal life. Despite the many ups and downs of his relationship with Josephine, he remained emotionally strong and focused on his mission. Our marriage faced multiple crises, from infidelity to the painful inability of Josephine to bear him a child. Yet Napoleon managed to continue his ascent to power. The eventual dissolution of their marriage in 1810, which was largely driven by political necessity, was a tremendous emotional blow to Napoleon. Yet even after this personal loss, he remained focused on his goals. His ability to endure heartbreak and still move forward with his ambitions speaks to an inner strength that allowed him to keep pursuing his vision, despite the emotional and personal cost. Even after his eventual fall from power, Napoleon's resilience remained evident. After being exiled to the island of Elba in 1814, he did not succumb to despair. Instead, he escaped and returned to France for the 100 Days, briefly reclaiming his position as emperor. Although this final phase of his reign ended in defeat at the Battle of Waterloo, the very fact that he was able to regain the throne for a short time after being exiled speaks to the depth of his resilience. His ability to rise again, even after the fall of his empire, is a testament to his determination and belief in his own capacity to overcome adversity. In many ways, Napoleon's story is one of enduring adversity with courage, strength, and resolve. His resilience, both on the battlefield and in his personal life, allowed him to rebuild and keep pushing forward regardless of the setbacks he faced. His ability to recover from defeat and continue striving for greatness in the face of overwhelming odds offers an important lesson to all. Resilience is not about avoiding failure, but about the capacity to rise each time we fall, to learn from our experiences, and to continue pursuing our goals. No matter how difficult the journey may be, embracing change is an essential aspect of personal growth and success, especially in times of uncertainty or when faced with difficult decisions. The story of Napoleon Bonaparte and Josephine is a powerful example of how embracing change, even when it is painful or unexpected, is critical for survival and progression. Throughout their relationship and the broader context of Napoleon's rise to power, both he and Josephine had to navigate significant changes, adjusting to shifting circumstances and evolving personal and political landscapes. Their ability to adapt to these changes played a significant role in shaping their fates. For Napoleon, change was an ever-present force. His entire career was marked by periods of rapid transformation. From a young military officer, he quickly rose to become one of the most powerful figures in Europe. This rapid ascent required not just military brilliance, but also an ability to navigate shifting political environments, forge alliances, and make strategic decisions based on changing circumstances. The political landscape of Europe was anything but stable during his reign, and Napoleon's success hinged on his ability to embrace and adapt to this volatility. Every time he faced a new challenge, whether it was an unforeseen enemy, a shift in the political balance, or a personal setback, Napoleon's response was to embrace the change and use it to his advantage. His military campaigns were often reflections of this adaptability. He adjusted his strategies to match the changing dynamics of warfare and the evolving circumstances on the ground. One of the most significant moments in Napoleon's life where change had a profound impact was in his relationship with Josephine. At the height of their marriage, Napoleon and Josephine were deeply in love. However, as his political power grew, so did the pressure to secure a male heir to ensure the continuation of his dynasty. Josephine, unfortunately, was unable to bear him a child, and this created a significant obstacle in their marriage. Napoleon's desire to secure an heir was not just personal. It was a political necessity. As painful as it was for both of them, Napoleon was forced to embrace the change and make the difficult decision to divorce Josephine in 1810, despite their emotional bond. This was a monumental shift for both of them, but they had to face it in order to continue their respective paths. Josephine, though heartbroken, accepted the change, and Napoleon moved on, marrying Marie-Louise of Austria in an effort to strengthen his political position and secure the future of his empire. This moment in their lives teaches us the importance of embracing change, even when it involves personal loss or emotional difficulty. It shows that change is sometimes necessary for progress and the pursuit of larger goals. Napoleon's ability to embrace change was also evident after his downfall. In 1814, after being defeated by a coalition of European forces, he was exiled to the island Elba. This was a profound shift, not only for his empire, but also for his personal identity. As Emperor of the French, Napoleon had wielded immense power, and his exile marked the end of his rule. However, instead of succumbing to despair, Napoleon embraced the change and made the decision to escape Elba in 1815, returning to France for what would be known as the 100 Days. Though ultimately defeated at the Battle of Waterloo, his ability to return to power, even briefly, demonstrates his resilience and willingness to adapt to a changing situation. This remarkable comeback reflects the core lesson that change, even when it seems like a setback, can be an opportunity for transformation and renewal. Josephine, too, had to embrace change in her own way. After her divorce from Napoleon, she faced a significant shift in her identity and her position in society. From being the Empress of France, she became a private citizen. However, she remained influential and managed to retain a sense of dignity and grace. Rather than resisting the change, Josephine adapted to her new life. She continued to be a respected figure, particularly in social circles, and became an important symbol of grace and elegance, especially in the French court. Josephine's ability to embrace her changed circumstances and make the most of her new life offers a lesson in resilience and adaptability. In both Napoleon's and Josephine's lives, the ability to embrace change was not just a matter of survival, but a key component of their continued relevance and success. It is a reminder that change is inevitable, and rather than resisting it, we must learn to adapt and use it to our advantage. Whether in personal relationships, careers, or any other aspect of life, the ability to embrace change with grace and determination is a crucial factor in achieving long-term success and fulfillment. Their story teaches us that growth often comes from our ability to navigate and adjust to the shifts that life brings, and that change, no matter how daunting, is an opportunity for reinvention and progress. Strategic decisions play a pivotal role in shaping the course of both personal and professional lives. They are the crossroads where one's values, goals, and ambitions intersect with the realities of the world around them. Napoleon Bonaparte, the man who rose from obscurity to become one of history's most formidable military leaders, understood the weight of strategic decisions all too well. His life offers countless examples of how critical it is to make informed, deliberate choices and the consequences that arise when those choices are made in haste or without careful thought. Napoleon's early career was defined by strategic decisions that allowed him to rise rapidly through the ranks of the military. As a young officer, he had a vision of greatness that far surpassed the humble beginnings of his life on the island of Corsica. His first major strategic decision was to align himself with the revolutionary ideals of France, which ultimately opened doors for him in the volatile political climate of the time. Instead of following the traditional path of a noble officer, Napoleon chose to embrace the revolutionary cause, which positioned him as a leader capable of navigating the changing tides of French politics. This decision was not made on a whim. Napoleon understood the importance of timing and aligning himself with the forces that would shape the future of his country. As he continued to rise in stature, Napoleon's ability to make strategic military decisions became his defining strength. His campaigns were marked by brilliant tactics, but at their core, these tactics were grounded in the strategic decisions he made before the battle even began. One of the key aspects of his strategy was his ability to understand and exploit the weaknesses of his enemies. He knew when to engage in battle and when to retreat, and his decision-making was often shaped by his understanding of both his forces and the broader geopolitical landscape. Perhaps one of the most striking examples of his strategic brilliance was during the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805, often regarded as one of his greatest victories. Napoleon's decision to feign weakness and allow the Allied forces to make the first move was a masterstroke in deception. By allowing his enemies to believe they had the upper hand, he was able to spring a devastating counterattack, securing a decisive victory and cementing his reputation as a master strategist. However, Napoleon's story also serves as a cautionary tale about the risks of strategic decisions. One of the most significant mistakes he made was his decision to invade Russia in 1812. On paper, this invasion seemed like a logical extension of his power and influence. Napoleon's empire had already expanded across much of Europe, and controlling Russia would have solidified his dominance. But the decision to march into Russia was fraught with miscalculations. Napoleon underestimated the vastness of the country, the harsh winter conditions, and the resilience of the Russian people. His strategic decision to press forward despite mounting logistical problems and the harsh climate ultimately led to one of his most crushing defeats. The invasion of Russia not only decimated his army, but also marked the beginning of the downfall of his empire. This decision is a clear example of how even the most brilliant strategist can falter when the cost of the decision is not fully understood or when critical factors are ignored. Beyond the battlefield, Napoleon's life was also marked by strategic decisions that shaped his personal and political relationships. His decision to marry Josephine, though initially a move born out of love, was also a political maneuver that strengthened his position in French society. However, his decision to divorce Josephine later in his reign, driven by the need for a male heir, was another strategic move, one that had significant emotional and political repercussions. While this decision may have made sense from a dynastic perspective, it also revealed the personal costs of strategic choices. By divorcing Josephine, Napoleon not only lost the woman he loved, but also alienated many of his supporters, who saw his actions as callous and politically motivated. Napoleon's ability to make decisive strategic moves is what propelled him to greatness, but it was also his inability to always assess the long-term consequences of these decisions that led to his eventual downfall. The importance of strategic decisions lies not just in their immediate outcomes, but in their ripple effects, which can affect everything from personal relationships to the stability of an empire. The lesson from Napoleon's life is clear. Strategic decisions require careful thought, foresight, and an understanding of both the immediate and long-term consequences. In the pursuit of success, whether in leadership, career, or personal relationships, the ability to make informed, thoughtful decisions is paramount. Napoleon's rise and fall serve as a reminder that the weight of each decision should never be underestimated, as they are the defining moments that determine the trajectory of our lives. The concept of legacy is one that transcends time, and in the case of Napoleon Bonaparte, his legacy is a complex and multifaceted one that continues to shape history long after his death. Though his life was filled with triumphs and tragedies, his influence remains deeply ingrained. in the political, military, and cultural fabric of the world. Napoleon's journey offers a striking example of how, even in the wake of personal and professional failures, a legacy can be forged that outlasts the individual and leaves a lasting impact on the generations that follow. Napoleon's rise to power and his eventual fall are emblematic of the fluctuating nature of human ambition. His leadership, vision, and ambition propelled him from humble beginnings on the island of Corsica to become the Emperor of France, one of the most powerful figures in European history. His military campaigns and reforms changed the geopolitical landscape of Europe, and his influence extended far beyond the battlefield. Yet, despite these monumental achievements, Napoleon's life was not without its share of setbacks. His divorce from Josephine, his inability to secure a male heir, and his eventual exile to the island of St. Helena were all painful moments that seemed to define his later years. In a traditional sense, one might view his story as tragic, a tale of a man who had it all only to lose it in the end. However, Napoleon's legacy reveals that tragedy does not necessarily erase greatness. In fact, it can serve as a testament to human resilience, the enduring nature of ambition, and the far-reaching effects of one's action. Napoleon's legal and administrative reforms left a profound impact on France and much of Europe. The Napoleonic Code, perhaps his most enduring legacy, remains one of the most significant legal documents in history. It laid the foundation for civil law systems in many countries, creating a more structured, fair, and equitable legal framework that has continued to influence legal practices around the world. While Napoleon's military campaigns were often marked by destruction and conquest, his legal reforms were aimed at building something lasting, an institution that would continue to shape society long after his reign had ended. His ability to create such lasting structures, despite the ultimate collapse of his empire, speaks to the enduring nature of his vision and his ability to leave behind a legacy that would transcend the fleeting nature of his rule. In the realm of military strategy, Napoleon's legacy is also undeniable. His tactics, many of which were revolutionary for their time, are still studied in military academies around the world. The speed, decisiveness, and adaptability of his campaigns set him apart as a military genius, and his strategies are used as models for leaders even in the modern age. His ability to execute complex battlefield maneuvers with precision and efficiency is something that continues to inspire military leaders and strategists today. The legacy of his military expertise is one that endures because it is built on principles of adaptability, innovation, and a relentless drive to succeed. Beyond his legal and military reforms, Napoleon's personal legacy, despite the personal tragedies he endured, is one that speaks to the complexity of the human experience. His relationship with Josephine, though marred by challenges and by their divorce, still stands as an example of the transformative power of love and ambition. Their bond, while it did not survive the pressures of his empire building, was a defining aspect of Napoleon's life, and their story continues to capture the imagination of historians and romantics alike. Even in his personal life, Napoleon's decisions, though controversial, were made with an eye toward his ultimate legacy, ensuring that France and his empire would endure. The final chapter of Napoleon's life, marked by his exile and death on St. Helena, might have seemed to signal the end of his influence, yet his legacy was far from over. In death, he became a symbol of both greatness and downfall, a reminder of the fragility of power and the perseverance of the human spirit. The admiration for his accomplishments never faded, and his legacy became a point of reference for future leaders and revolutionaries, as well as a symbol of ambition, glory, and the costs that come with both. Napoleon's legacy reminds us that greatness does not always come without sacrifice, and that the impact one leaves on the world is often not measured by immediate success or failure, but by the long-term effects of their action. In the wake of his personal and political tragedies, Napoleon's influence continued to shape the world. serving as a reminder that even in the face of adversity, a legacy can endure and transcend the individual. His life stands as an enduring testament to the idea that one's impact on history is not defined solely by their triumphs, their tragedies, but by their ability to leave behind something of lasting value that shapes the course of future generations.